am going to be starting some seeds today. I know it's January, but some of these are cold hardy annuals, which means that they need to get in before the frost, before the last frost. So they need some cold to get their roots down in that soil and for them to grow really tall. I have my soil blocking mix over here. I'm going to get some of that out, and then I'll mix in some green sand, rock phosphate, and then water, and then we'll make some soil blocks. That's what I'm going to do. I have already sifted this. This is a soil blocking mix that I use. Comes from Vermont. I don't know. I'll have to look it up and maybe put a picture on there. Vermont Compost or something like that. I don't know. Found it through the Gardener's Workshop. They recommended it. I used it. Had a lot of success. So this is what I'm using. I get like 4 bags, sift out all the big parts, and then put it in here. I love my rock phosphate. Then my green sand. And then I also like to use this, the Ever Hopeful Gardeners All Natural Plant Food. It is kick-ass brass. And basically what it is insect poop. But it is, I have seen that it helps a lot, and it's a great fertilizer. So I use a scoop of that too for my little plants. All right, then I'm going to mix all of that up into this soil. Yes, that's a potato masher. Got it at the thrift store. That's what I use. Now I'm getting my water, and I kind of make this look like mashed potatoes is the best way to describe it. This is pretty much what you want it to look like for making soil blocks. To do the seed starting, I need my, where is it? Here it is. Sorry, wasn't prepared. My soil blocker. I use, this is the 3/4 inch. Isn't that correct? Yeah. I do have others that are bigger, and so this one, as you can see, has these little blocks right there. So these little blocks are the same size as these little blocks. So if I use this one and then they get too big, I can make a bigger one with this one, and then this just plops right into the bigger block. I don't really typically have to do that unless it's eucalyptus. But let me show you. I know I get sidetracked a lot. The little tiny baby eucalyptus that I did back in September, look how big they are. Yay! They started out, as seeds, and this is how long it's taken them to get this big. This is why I start eucalyptus in September, October, whenever I did, I'll have to look back. And then overwinter it because it takes so long. And the baby one that I didn't think was going to grow, here it is. It grew. Okay. Squirrel, Shauna squirrel. All right, I need that. And I always have tape because I write with a guarded marker. This marker is UV resistant, so it doesn't fade. And I'm lazy. I take the tape from these and typically I put it on the netting out there, and then that's how I label things out in the garden. So I write on my tape, put it on my trays, then take it off there and put it out in the garden. So my UV resistant. And then I need a toothpick. For all the little seeds, I need a toothpick. And wait, no, not in there. Thought I had it out here. Usually do. So I need a toothpick. And then my trays. I put my soil blocks like this. So 2 fit. So in this little tray right here, I can fit 4, 20, that's what I thought. So there's 20 in here. So 40 on one tray. So I can start 40 plants on one little tray, and then 3 of these trays fit on one of, like this way on the heat mat. So I can start a lot in a small amount of space. I don't have a lot of space to start my plants, so I really need to be space savvy, and this lets me be space savvy. So let's go find a toothpick. Ta-da! I have my toothpick. So here we go. You need to know, do you cover the seed? Is it a 1/4 inch down? Blah, blah, blah. You need to know all the things when you're starting. And luckily, when I buy from the Gardener's Workshop, it's all in the back here. When I buy from Floret, usually I have to look those up online and see whether or not it's like I have to bury it. Because some seeds to germinate need darkness, some need a little bit of light. So you need to know if you need to put it like a 1/4 inch down and cover it, or does it need to be on top of the soil, all the things. This never tells me, like this just says start seed indoors before last fall frost, transplant out after danger of frost, blah, 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 blah. But it doesn't say anywhere on here about whether to cover it or not. Johnny's, I also buy from Johnny's, and they, like this one will say do not cover seed as light is required for germination, hard not, blah, blah. So they're usually pretty good about telling you as well. And this has 50 seeds. And this has 50 seeds, and because this tray only holds 40, I usually double seed a couple of the blocks and use all the seeds. So that's what I'll do with this. So this has 50, it says right there, has 50, and so I'll double seed, and then, because sometimes not everything germinates, and then that way, sometimes what I'll do is if one hasn't germinated and then there's 2 in one, when it's little, I might prick one out and put it in the one that hasn't germinated and hope that survives, and then I'll have that plant. We'll see. I did do that with the Goodisha that's already planted out, and that did work. Sometimes when I prick them out, they die, or I don't get them right. But it's worth a try. Starting with Goodisha, and then I think I'll probably do the stock. Those are the 2 I really want to get done. So we'll see how that goes. All right, so what I do first, this is hard angle. I'm probably just gonna have my head cut off, but that's okay. Get my seeds. So I'm going to start out with Godicia lavender. And like I said, these say do not cover. And they're little, when they're packed in a bag like this, you know they're going to be tiny seeds. So I'm going to put these in this tray right here. Try to get all the seeds out. And then on my piece of tape, I like to put the date I started it, what it is, and then I like to put what seed company, just to kind of keep track of if one has better germination than the other. And then when this tape sits out here this long, it gets hard to get off in one piece. All right. Put this on here. And then I think you can see in there, sort of. Oh, let's see if I can move you without. There we go. So. I usually do that a couple of times. Lift up. See, it's full. Like I don't have any empty blocks. And then I'm going to put it right here on my tray. See if I can do it like this. Usually it's sitting on the thing. And then there are my soil blocks. So then I'll do it again. I just kind of go easy, kind of break that suction in there. And there we go. And see how those have little indentations in them? You can see that? Makes a perfect place to put your seed right on there. All right, so dip that in a little water. Get my seed. That's why I needed my, and I press it on the top of the soil block. You want to press it because you want to make sure it just sets in there pretty good. You don't want to just like gently lay it on, because then it won't, it's not going to germinate well if it's not set on there good. So you just want to give it the best chance. And then make sure it comes off of your, usually I try to go like in the same way, meaning Start on this side and go down. So I know, like I just got 2 and that one fell in between and I don't know where it went, so oh well, too bad. Just thought we'd hang out for a little while and I could just talk while I was doing my seeds, because it gets a little boring doing the seeds. I'm gonna put all of these trays in the workroom. If you've seen any of our videos, when it stops picking up the seed well, then I get it wet again. If you've seen any of our videos, I forgot which one I showed, which I'll do in this one again, but I've shown our germination station, which is in the workroom, and I have heat mats on some of the shelving, and then on the others I have lights, and they're on timers. The heat mat's down all the time. The lights are on timers because from what the Gardener's Workshop has told me, you need about 16 hours of light to really get your transplant, your little seeds, once they've sprouted, to get your little seeds up and growing well. So mine have been set on timers. And I don't use any kind of like special grow light. I just use workshop lights. And they seem to have done fine. The one thing I have not done, which I need to do, is you're supposed to change out the workshop lights. Like the bulb is only, I mean, it's still, the bulb is still bright, but for this purpose, you're supposed to, I mean, as soon as I see 50% of the seeds germinate, so I see a little bit of green, 50% germinate, that means most of them have had a chance. That's when they get moved over to the grow lights. And then for cool season, which this is what these are cool season, they like it a bit cooler. I put these up on cookie cooling racks, which take it off of the heat mat just about this much. So there's still some heat for the soil to heat up a little bit, but not quite as hot as if it was sitting on the heat mat. And that gives it enough to germinate. That is what the Gardener's Workshop says. And because I'm stubborn, I haven't always done it like that. I'll just put it directly on the heat mat. And guess what? I have found that if you do it the way they say, it really does germinate better. That's the other thing I've learned. I used to only start, I would think, okay, well, 40 plants are plenty. I don't need more than 40 plants. The trouble is you don't always have good germination. So you need to start more than 40 plants if you just want 40 plants. Because also, you never know what's going to happen. This whole tray, one of the whole trays of 40 plants, something might happen to. You might drop it. It happened to me. Let's see if I can show you without dripping on everything. See how that one's not full? You want to make sure that you have all of your blocks full before you press them out. Another thing that I love about the soil blocking is it uses so much less soil. And when you're having to buy your soil, yeah, it's so much nicer not to have to use a whole bunch. If you want to learn how to soil block, I highly recommend that you check out the Gardener's Workshop. they, on their website, they have a bunch of free information to peruse. They have a YouTube site, bunch of free stuff there to peruse. And that's where I came across soil blocking for the first time. And it really helped my germination, seed starting germination. I wasn't having the greatest luck with other methods. And I think it's because the blocks are so small. And when you put them on the heat mat, they warm up easily. I don't really know, actually. I just know it got better. And so I was super thankful. And I didn't have these big trays to always move around, and I was running out of space, and it just helped a lot. Last year was the first year I tried out Cool Flowers that she talks about. She has a book called The Cool Flowers. But again, it's not a concept that she made up. It's been around forever. She just kind of brought it back to life. And her name is Lisa Mason Ziegler. There is a group of flowers that you can plant in the fall and overwinter. And if you do that, they will grow taller stems and they will be bigger and stronger. Sounds like Superman. In the spring. And so last year I tried that with snapdragons and some various ones, and it sure enough worked. Again, I really don't mind starting seeds. It takes a little bit of time and it's kind of repetitious, but I don't know. I don't mind. But I have to say that I'm always scared once I start the seeds that none of them will germinate. But here's to hoping that they all germinate. So I'm going to show you my seed starting station here in the workshop. Again, if you all don't know, we do furniture refinishing. And Bob builds furniture and he's a handyman. That's what we do for the full-time gig. This is the part-time gig right now. So I'm gonna turn you around. Here are the seeds that I started. This is the seed starting station. And right here are the heat mats that I have. I have 3 cookie cooling racks. And so I decided to put the stock on those because I have the hardest time starting stock. And I think, if I remember correctly, I need to go back and look in my little notes, but I think they did do better on the cookie racks, so that's why I have those there. I have 2 iron pastel stocks, trays, and then 2 of the Cat's Yellow, and then 1 of the Cat's Mix. And then I was able to still have a Godicia back there. And then I have 1, 2, 3 trays of Godicia over there. And down here I have Calendula and I have Rudbeckia Goldilocks. Again, the Gardener's Workshop. Go check them out. So I have been using this wide weave burlap, and I put that on top of my trays instead of the plastic domes. The plastic domes are humidity domes, and they keep the soil moist until the seeds germinate. I use the wide weave burlap to help keep the soil moist until the seeds germinate. See, they're all pretty dry. And now I'm going to water. Then I let that soak in for about 5 minutes, and then I will dump the the seeds are watered. Hopefully they're going to turn into baby plants, and this is the part that I get excited about. I just love it when I see that they've germinated, and I've actually done it again. I'm serious. Every year I'm always like, they're not gonna germinate. They're just all gonna die. So fingers crossed that these actually turn into some plants. So once I see any kind of germination, those wide weave burlap will come off. And then usually about 50% then of germination, then I will move them over here to grow lights. And then once they've grown up, I don't know, a couple inches, it just usually depends on what I'm seeing. Like if I really see them getting pretty yellow and looking pretty sickly, I'll move them out to the sunshine. That usually cures a lot of evils. And then move them out to the hardening off station outside, and then let them grow up some more, get them acclimated to being outside, and then off to the garden they go. All right, guys, I did not even plan on this. It is the 3rd, so it's been 3 days, and I have some baby plants that sprouted. So while I watered them and then I moved some over to the lights, I'm gonna show you the baby plants. All the ones that have sprouted are the Godicia. So here's some. They still have water in the trays because I'm letting them sit for a little bit. But look at this tray. Almost 100% germination. I would call that 90%. I am super happy. Well, and then more might come up. Again, this is on the 3rd day, so I move them under lights when 50% have germinated. Now look at this. Look how tall they got. I mean, they sprouted and got that tall in 1 day, because you saw these yesterday. There was nothing, and the burlap was on top of them, so that's why they're laying over. But they'll straighten up because they will reach for these lights. And this is how close I put the lights to them. The lights are really close because I really don't want them to stretch. I want them to grow short and stout. All right, there's another one. Now this tray, I see lots of them. They're little teeny tiny. Oops, sorry. This tray, I see lots of them. They're little teeny tiny. They're really hard to see. I was a little iffy on taking these off the heat mat, but I don't know, I'm still iffy. When I dump off the water, might put those back on. I don't know, can't decide. And then these for sure. 50% of those have germinated. This is all the Godicia. 3 days. Three days. So I'm super excited. I am. Let's see if I can do this one-handed. So I just take this tray and pour off all the water. That was just all the water in there. See? And then they're gonna sit like this. January 4th. Look at this. This is stock cats mix. And we do have a little germination here. Not 50%, so I'm not gonna take it off of the heat mats. But let's focus a little over here. Just a couple back there. And even a few calendula, which I had terrible germination when I tried that in the fall. So we have 2 so far. I don't see anything on the Rudbeckia, and maybe maybe a couple back there. I don't see, well, maybe one on this stalk right here. And then all of our Godicia is looking good under the lights. January 5th, we have a lot more stalk germinated. Not quite enough to get those off the mat. Couple more calendula, which are definitely reaching for the light. But I did take these did take this stalk off the mat, put it over here, definitely 50% there. And the Rudbeckia all germinated. Well, I'm gonna be blah 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 blah.